Breaking news now. We're now learning the names of the semi-finalists for the job of superintendent of the New Orleans Police Department.
David Jones is live in the newsroom with more on what we know about these candidates.
Yeah, Lee, out of 6 semifinalists, only one, NOPD Interim Superintendent Michelle Woodfork, is an internal candidate from NOPD. The other 5 come from cities like Albuquerque, Philadelphia, and Prince William County, Virginia. Cedric Andres says he has more than 31 years of law enforcement experience, most recently with the Henderson, Nevada Police Department, where he just retired as chief. Ann Kirkpatrick is 63 years old. She has more than 38 years of law enforcement experience. Kirkpatrick was the first female police chief of the Oakland, California Police Department. And David Franklin was the chief of staff at Albuquerque PD with more than 26 years of law enforcement experience. Franklin previously served as a lieutenant and captain with the Texas Department of Public Safety. Current NOPD Interim Superintendent Michelle Woodfork was selected by the mayor after the retirement of former Superintendent Sean Ferguson. The 52-year-old is the first black female to lead NOPD, has 31 years of experience at the department, and is the niece of former NOPD Chief Warren Woodfork. Jared Phelps from the Prince William County, Virginia Police Department has more than 27 years of experience, including a 3-year stint as Deputy Chief with Prince William County. And finally, 45-year-old Deshaun Beaufort held the number 3 job at Philadelphia PD until 2021, when the Philadelphia Inquirer reported Beaufort was involved in a road rage incident with a civilian while off duty, which cost him the promotion. Some of the panelists who interviewed the candidates include City Councilman Oliver Thomas, businessman Paul Flower from Woodward Design, Donovan Livicari with the Fraternal Order of Police, and Eric Hessler with the Police Association. New Orleans Chief Administrative Officer Gilbert Montano is expected to officially confirm the list of semifinalists tonight at 6 o'clock. We'll stream that on our platforms. Meg?